You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series and syndicating for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith. What follows on this episode of the podcast series is a conversation between myself and Matt Caughthran. He's a singer from the Bronx. Now, the reason for the conversation is to promote the Bronx's tour of Australia, which is happening through October. I'll read out some dates. There's 11 in all. Thursday the 18th, they're playing here in Brisbane. Then they're playing at the Coolangatta Hotel on the Gold Coast on Friday the 19th. Sunday the 21st, they're playing the Northern in Byron Bay. We talk about that show. The Cambridge Hotel follows on the 24th of October, which is in Newcastle. Canberra, dreary old Canberra, gets a show on Thursday the 25th. Sydney gets one on Friday the 26th. Perth, you get one, Sunday the 28th. Adelaide on Monday the 29th. Ballarat, a regional show in Victoria, Tuesday the 30th, as is the show in Geelong, meaning it's in regional Victoria, on Wednesday the 31st. And that's it. Let's cut to the chase. Here he is, Matt from the band, The Bronx.
And Andrew, you are now on with Matt.
Oh, thank you very much. Cheers. Hey, Matt.
Andrew.
Hello, Matt. How's things, mate?
Oh man, everything's good, man. I woke up in Australia, so that's always a good thing.
Yes.
Jet lag didn't seem to be kicking my ass too bad, so it's all good, man. How are you?
Mate, I'm doing very well, actually. You must be in my part of the world. I'm on the Gold Coast, so I think your first show's in Brisbane, isn't it?
Yeah. First show's in Brisbane, and then then we make our way up to you.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, I'm doing well, mate. I've been looking forward to the tour. I'd love to get along to one of the shows, but I've just got so much going on I've got kids, and believe it or not, I'm in my 40s, but I'm back at uni, so I don't have the funds that I used to have when I was working a full-time job, so I can't get out to a lot of things. And let's face it, mate, if you go to the Bronx, mate, you want to have a few bevies whilst you're enjoying your manic punk rock music. So, mate, unfortunately, you are one of the few bands, mate, where I wouldn't want to be in a position where I wasn't drinking, to be quite frank. So, what can I say, mate? I'm sad that I missed out on the show, but I did see you perform a couple of years ago when you played in the Bronx Mariachi at River Stage with Violent Soho.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a good show,
right on,
man.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, hey, life happens. What's up?
That was a good show, that one you guys put on back then. I don't think a lot of the crowd were as prepared for the sort of music you guys were going to be playing, but the crowd certainly got it, and they weren't a crowd that I thought would understand what you guys were doing that day.
Yeah, sometimes with the mariachi stuff, it hits them a little late. You know what I mean? They see it at first, and they're excited because it's something different, but it takes them a little while to digest it, because it is very unique, so it's something that we love to do, and it's a big part of who we are, and between both bands we have a lot going on, so so it's all good.
Yeah, I imagine, and let's talk about these 11 dates, because that's really the key factor there. Is you've got bloody 11 dates across Australia, and well over half of them are in regional locations, mate. So, alluding to the fact that I mentioned earlier about beer drinking, how the hell are your liver's going to survive 11 dates with the majority of these concerts in regional Australia?
Well, we are seasoned professionals at this point, so hopefully our livers will be able to back us up. But no, it's it's something that we've wanted to do for a while. And, we want to, we care about what we're doing here in Australia, and we want to grow, and it's like, I know some of these regional shows, they're not going to be like, they're not going to be, the knockout punches like the Sydneys or the Melbournes, or the major cities could be, but it's like, I believe that they can get there, and it's like, and for us, it's like, we just love playing music, and we want to play music anywhere and everywhere that we possibly can. So, we're really excited about going to these places that we've never been, and playing shows in smaller clubs and getting radical, and spreading the word.
Well, you're going to love Byron Bay and Coolangatta. I can tell you that. You're the sort of band that the venue down there. I can't remember the name of the venue you're playing at Byron Bay, mate. But you wait and see until you can see the maniacs that are going to be turning up and watching you perform at both of those locations. So
yeah, I think
You're right. You go.
I think Byron is it's the northern. I think.
That's
I think
it.
that's where
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, the best show I've ever seen in my life was about 15 years ago. I saw the Psychedelic Furs at the Coolangatta Hotel, and that's a venue that is a very, very good rock and roll room. So, mate, I'd probably say, mate, that you might finish this tour and go, you know what, those two shows, they were the highlight of it. You know, the big cities, you know, the port towns, Sydney and Melbourne, of course, you're going to get a lot of people going along to them, and no doubt they'll be sold out. But I think in terms of feedback and the way that the crowd interacts, mate, you'll have trouble getting them off stage, mate, if you invite them on. It's going to be like two of those sorts of shows.
Hell yeah, I love that.
Australia, mate, we have been a territory that has favoured you guys now for a long time. I'm sure that you're aware of that. But what do you put that down to? Because we do get some bands that tour here and it doesn't go that well. Believe me, I've been in the audience where there's been 20 people in a like 1,000 capacity room, but not you guys. We get you guys, and I think you get us. But what do you put the success of the relationship down to?
I think it's just it's just an honest relationship. I think that it's just we connected from the start. I think there's a great love of rock and roll and punk rock and just kind of culturally, I think we're very similar. I think Los Angeles to California and it's very similar in a lot of ways to Australia. And it's just a natural fit. It's just we just got each other off the bat, and we're hardworking dudes. So we like to come down here whenever we can. And I think that people in Australia they realize how far away they are, from the rest of the world, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. So I think they appreciate it when bands come out, and like give a shit, like really care about what they're doing and coming out here and playing music because I think people appreciate it.
Mate, they do, and the fact that I don't know how many tours you've done down here, but it's about half a dozen, I think, at this point in time, isn't it?
Yeah, at least, man. I mean, we've done a lot of stuff. We've done pretty much every major festival, and a ton of support tours and our own tours, and we have a blast every time we come down here.
But this time around, I believe you're touring to promote the album V, or is it 5? Sorry, it's one of the two. But that's also a unique album for you guys because in terms of the Bronx,
either way.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting album for you guys because I know it's effectively album number 5 for the Bronx proper. But it's the first time you've actually gone with an album title, so you've probably answered this elsewhere, so apologies. I haven't read online to see what the reason for this was, but what was the reason for going with an album title with this one rather than just sticking to an eponymous title?
It's crazy. It's so basically what we did with the album titles is like we were just gonna not name them anything. And we were going to let the artwork speak for itself, and people were going to call it whatever they wanted to call it, whether it was based on a song or based on the artwork or just based on the number of the album. And it's really funny because for some reason everybody thinks that we named this album, and we really didn't. It's just the Roman numeral V for 5. Oh,
right.
So
okay. Yep.
people just think people think that people think that we were to be called the record something. And but that's kind of what we wanted. We want people just to call it whatever they want. So it wasn't something that we intentionally did. It was just it's just the artwork really. So yeah, it's still we're still technically going strong with not naming albums.
Yeah, have you ever had fans or anybody in the media compare you guys to Weezer with that? Because I know they did something similar. I think that they've named more self-titled albums since you guys have come out or so, but there's always been that parallel between the two bands and that there's really been make of the album what you want, call it whatever you want. We're just going to release it out there, and in your case it's the Bronx, and in Weezer's case it's Weezer. So have you got a lot of feedback, or have you even spoken to Rivers Cuomo or Brian Bell about that?
I'll tell you what, no one has ever compared the Bronx to Weezer, ever. And you're absolutely right. Though there is definitely a parallel, and I've met Rivers a couple times, but Never really had the opportunity to rap with him about not titling records. But I do got nothing but love for those guys.
Yeah, sweet. No worries. All right, I'm going to take a bit of a tangent, a bit of a right-hand turn here. Mate, you are a band that are known as Road Warriors, so you've got some wonderful tales, no doubt, to share from the road. What's a tale that you feel comfortable sharing? It can be as not safe for work as you like, because I do host an R-rated program and write for R-rated publications.
Let's see here. I mean, we've been out pretty much nonstop, man. I mean, we've been going since the beginning of the year. It was actually since last year. Actually, since the band started, you know what I mean? So, every night is an amazing night when you get to play music and hang out with your friends. I did on this last run. We had a day off in Charleston, South Carolina, and it's a really, really cool city. And we ended up taking a bunch of mushrooms and
nice.
and cruising around the city, cruising around the city, and just and it was honestly one of the most amazing experiences I've had in a long time, because growing up I was a big psychedelic guy, but it's been a minute since I really kind of jumped back into that stuff. So it was super crazy because South Carolina is and Carolinas in general are it's kind of Civil War country. There's
mm-hmm.
a lot of there's a lot of history there.
Yeah.
So cruising around, we were cruising around on these little rented bikes, and just we were all just high out of our minds and cruising around, and it was a beautiful day. And it's like, there's nights where we go out and we party, and it's like we don't really fight or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's not like we go to bars and like look for trouble. Nowadays, it's more about we just kind of we do mushrooms on our days off. You know what I mean? It's like that type of thing. It's that type of vibe. So any time like that, it's like that's what we've been doing lately. Luckily it hasn't landed any of us in jail. But, you never know. So I did something really funny is that when we were getting ready to fly, we flew from Nashville to Houston, and from Houston to Sydney. And so we literally, when we landed in Houston, I reached in my jacket pocket and I had a big fucking bag of mushrooms still in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, yeah, so I flew on the flight from Nashville to Houston with mushrooms in my pocket, and then when I was just about to get on the flight to go to Sydney, and I guaranteed, I don't know if I would have got busted, but thank God I realized it in time, so I took a couple, and then I threw the rest away, so I was pretty high on the flight coming over here, but
nice.
That's about if the flight's 17 hours, you got to do something, you know what I mean?
Oh, bloody oath you do, yeah. Look, when you get here too, there's a town that's not too far from Byron, if you can manage it. I know you've got a tight schedule, but if someone can bring you out to a town called Nimbin, it's only about 50 or 60 k's away from Byron Bay. That is Australia's epicentre of psychedelics, and you're so close to it. I go there quite a bit, and there's lots of really nice cafes.
Really?
Yeah, man, you just look it up online. It's spelled Nimbin, but mate, you'd love it. And it's very alternative. You know what I'm saying? It's not mainstream at all. It's not being gentrified in any way.
Yeah,
it's very, very much salt of the earth people there. They're trying to help people. There's a lot of clinics there that dispense cannabis-style products as well, but of course there's a psychedelic aspect to everything there too, mate. I reckon you'd love it out there. So hopefully whoever's looking after you can take you out there in the Tarago or whatever you're travelling around in.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, okay. So, mate, these shows, I've already alluded to the fact that, you are road warriors. And your partner in crime, and I know Ken's been there a long time as well, but I hope I'm pronouncing your other guitarist name correctly here, but Joby, you guys have been in forces now for a long time, but is it a bit of a brotherhood, or do you guys just you just get along through some cosmic coincidence? How would you describe the relationship between you two?
It's beyond a brotherhood at this point. I mean, it's family. It's like, Joby and I, we're tight, man. I mean, we're all tight in this group. I mean, Joby, the band was his idea, and I was, his buddy, and we were singing, and we were playing in another band together, and he brought me into the Bronx because, he thought it'd be a good fit, and, we've been going ever since. So, I mean, it's like, creatively, we're able to push each other and motivate each other and inspire each other. Outside of that, I mean, the reason that the band is still just, going strong is just because, we're all friends, we're all super tight friends. We can be real with each other, and we all have a common goal, we all love playing music. I mean, it sounds kind of cheesy to say, but it's seriously just that simple. It's like, you have a group of guys that love playing, and it's like, that's the priority. That's the main goal, is just to keep the band alive and keep everything going. Because, it's something that means the world to us, and it's something that we need, it's like something that, it's not the source of all our happiness, but it's a big source of what we do and who we are, so, at this point, it means everything to us, and the relationship that we have together, is what keeps everything, what keeps everything moving forward,
Yeah, I can definitely understand it. Yeah, it's I've spoken to a lot of artists at this point in time and musicians, and it's amazing how similar the responses are when two musicians or three musicians have been in forces for a long time. It gets a bit weird though when I'd love to interview somebody like Steven Tyler though about Aerosmith, because they're the only band that I'm aware of that have had the same lineup for about 50 years or however the hell long they've been going. So you can imagine there's probably been a lot of really interesting things happen in that time that has forced them away from each other and kept them together. So they're a bit different. But in terms of bands that play punk rock, heavy metal, or whatever it might be, mate, the responses are remarkably similar. So good on you for that, mate. And I better let you go, but before I do, mate, congratulations on a wonderful career to date. Long may you make bruising punk rock the way you have been, LA style, mate. And good luck on this tour around Australia, because there's a lot of sweaty punters, mate, that are really looking forward to these shows.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And, thanks for the interview. And hopefully next time, we come out here, you'll be out of school or in a little bit of a better spot where you can come out and have a beer.
I'd love that, brother. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, no worries, mate. Thanks very much, eh?
All right, man.
Thank you.
All
Cheers.
right, take care.
Catch You have been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series and syndicating for the A-List Online. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that conversation featured Matt from the band The Bronx. Thank you so much for listening.